I'm the Ranting Packers fan, and this is Skelly coming to you from Lambeau West. Well, the Combine is coming up. It'll be held between March 1st and March 7th at Lucas Oil Stadium. What are your expectations from the Combine? Let me know down in the comments. The top quarterback prospects are Malik Wilson, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, and Carson Strong. Should be rather interesting to see how they perform at the Combine. Top wide receiver prospects are as follows: Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Treylon Burks, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, David Bell, George Pickens, John Mechie III, and Jamison Wilson. I don't generally watch the Combine very often, but I may this time just to see what's going to happen. I've heard rumors that it's not the best class of college athletes coming out. Should be interesting. What do you think the Packers' needs are? Also put those down in the comments. Skelly here, he'll be in track of that Combine and just see what kind of skills these young athletes have. And we'll have more on that as the Combine starts and continues. Coaches and their staff, the media, and the athletes. 324 athletes, to be exact, were invited to this Combine, all coming into Lucas Oil Stadium for the 2022 NFL Combine. The first couple of days, the athletes will be getting their physicals. Thursday, March 3rd, it'll be the wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends. Friday, we'll see offensive line, running backs, and special teams. Saturday, defensive line and linebackers. Then followed up with Sunday, be the defensive back. Will you be watching the Combine? The Packers coaching staff will be keeping track of the athletes. Day one of the Combine workout featured quarterbacks, tight ends, and wide receivers. One interesting drill was called the gauntlet, where the wide receivers, tight ends, they all had to run sideline to sideline in a straight line and catch pass after pass after pass, and then catch the last pass and run up the field. Took great hands. A lot of them had very good hands. Some of the most amazing things were some of the 40-yard dash times. And they're as follows. Chigoziem Okonkwo, he had a 4.52. Jelani Woods, he had a 4.61. Grant Calcaterra, he had a 4.62. Daniel Bellinger had a 4.63. Greg Dulcich had a 4.70. Connor Hayward had a 4.72. Cole Turner had a 4.76. Peyton Hendershot had a 4.80. Jake Ferguson had a 4.81. Austin Allen had a 4.83. Pretty darn fast if you ask me. Check out our social media, like and subscribe. Hit that bell. Were also very fast. There were 9 of them under 4.4 in the 40-yard dash. Tyquan Thornton had the fastest with a 4.28. Vilas Jones had a 4.31. Calvin Austin III had a 4.32. Alec Pierce had a 4.3. Danny Gray had a 4.33. Bo Melton had a 4.34. Christian Watson had a 4.36. Garrett Wilson had a 4.38. And Chris Olave had a 4.39. Now the drills that everybody did were quite interesting. From the passing of the quarterback to the route running and catches of the tight ends and the wide receivers. Should be interesting come the draft because there's a lot of great talent out there for wide receivers and tight ends and quarterbacks. Another day, or should I say evening, of the 2022 NFL Combine being held at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Day 2, the workout drills. It's the O-line and the running backs. What I did see was something called the wave drill. Each participant in the O-line category had to move from side to side, back and forth, all depending on how the instructor moved the ball in his hands. It was rather interesting. One of the offensive linemen is from Nebraska. He is Cam Jurgens. He looks like he's a pretty good one. I have their 40-yard dash times, and they're as follows. Dare Rosenthal had a 4.88. Kellen Deesh had a 4.89. Chris Paul had a 4.89. Trevor Penning had a 4.89. Cam Jurgens had a 492. Abraham Lucas had a 492. Ikem Ekwonu had a 493. Dylan Parham had a 493. Zach Tom had a 494. And Charles Cross had a 495. These seem pretty quick for those big men. And what I noticed that during their drills, they were very agile athletes. I'm sure that every team in the NFL could use some O-linemen, if not to start right away, to add depth. Check out our social media, like and subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And then there was the running backs. It was kind of interesting. Dalvin Cook of the Vikings, his brother was there. His name is James. He had a very good showing. And the running back drills were just as interesting. They had many different drills that tested their agility and skills and really tested their mental ability. The 40-yard dash times for the running backs were as follows. Isaiah Pacheco ran a 4:37. Pierre Strong Jr. ran a 4:37. Ty Chandler had a 4:38. Devontae Price had a 4:38. Kenneth Walker III had a 4:38. Breece Hall had a 4:39. Zamir White had a 4:40. James Cook, Dalvin's brother, had a 4:42. What I saw during the time I was watching, they said that Dalvin Cook's time was a 4:49. Tyler Goodson had a 4:42. Treston Ebner had a 4:43. Now, it was another exciting round of the combine. These young athletes are really showing what they can do, and they've really impressed with their abilities and how fast these people actually are. It was day 3 of the NFL Combine, the workouts. It's the defensive line, the edge rushers, and the middle linebackers. The man to watch was 340-pound defensive lineman Jordan Davis. He did a really good job. For a big man, he turned in a 4.78 40-yard dash with a 1.68 10-yard split time, and that is really good. I have 40-yard dash times. Nick Benito had a 4:54. Vonnie Wyatt had a 4:77. Jordan Davis, as I said, had a 4:78. Logan Hall had a 4:88. Perion Winfrey, a 4:89. Travis Jones, 4:92. Zachary Carter had a 4:99. Matthew Butler, 5 flat. Also DeMarvin Leal had a 5 flat. Haskell Garrett had a 5:07. And I'll tell you, they were pretty fast for big men. I'll tell you that for sure. I also have up on the screen the 10-yard split time, what to kind of look at, see what kind of burst of speed you have off the ball. And for the edge rusher, I have their 40-yard dash. Amari Barno had a 4:36. Sam Williams had a 4:46. Trevon Walker had a 4:51. Nick Bonito had a 4:54. David Ajabo had a 4:55. Kayvon Thibodeau had a 4:58. Mijah Sanders had a 4:67. Jeffrey Gunter and Isaiah Thomas each had a 4.7. Dominique Robinson had a 4.72. To me, that sounds pretty fast. They look like they have a lot of talent. It'll be interesting in the draft coming up in April. I have the top linebackers 40-yard dash times. They are Troy Anderson had a 4:42. Jim Harris had a 4:44. Channing Tyndall had a 4:47. Malcolm Rodriguez and Brandon Smith each had 4:52. Quay Walker had a 4:52 also. Leo Chenal, 4:53. DeMarco Jackson had a 4:55. Brian Asamoah had a 4:56. Damone Clark, a 4:57. Chauncey Campbell had a 4:57. Baylor Spector had a 4:60. It's been an interesting combine. Who do you like in this group? Defensive linemen, edge rushers, and linebackers. Let me know down in the comments. Well, it was an interesting last day of the combine. We had punters there. The punter that impressed the most, his name was Matt Areza. He's from San Diego State. He started off kicking from the 20-yard line and ended up the ball hit and stopped inside the 5-yard line. Truly amazing. He's going to be an awesome punter for somebody. The Packers could use some competition. So maybe if he's available, maybe they'll go for him. Today's combine was about the defensive backs. The notable defensive backs to look for coming out in the draft are Kyle Hamilton, Ahmad Gardner, Trent McDuffie, Derek Stingley Jr., and Daxton Hill. I have the 40-yard dash times for the top 10. Kalen Barnes had a 4:23. Tariq Woolen had a 4:26. Zion McCullum had a 4:33. Nick Cross had a 4:34. Tyson Anderson, 4:36. Piercy Butler, Alante Taylor had 4:36. JT Woods had a 4:36. Lewis Klein had a 4:37. And there were 4 players tied for 10th at a 4:38. The class of defensive backs are very good from what I saw in the combine here and all the drills that they did. We'll see what happens at Pro Day. Every team, all 32, need defensive backs, whether to fill the role as starters or just added depth. So this crop of safeties and cornerbacks will be a great one. How about that punter, Matt Areza? He should give somebody a run for their money. Let's hope he's drafted to somebody. And so tell me what your thoughts are on this combine, the athletes that were at the combine. Put your comments down below, and go Pack Go!